Alright then. My Doctor Who video that I made in like 3 hours as a joke has become my most viewed video by a considerable margin. I'm not annoyed, I just find that very interesting. And so I thought, why not break down how I made the music, seeing as there might be some people who might want to see that. I use Logic Pro because that's the program that I've been learning as part of my A level, and I made this Doctor Who theme a year ago, and I thought it was really cool, and I really liked it, and it was really good, and I wanted an excuse to show it off. Luckily, I saw a really terrifying looking David Tennant model on the workshop for SFM, and I went, I'm going to use that. So here we are. This is a cut down version I just made. I did just record myself making this cut down version, but me being the genius that I am, the incredible audio technician I am, only recorded my voice to the left channel because I'm using a mono microphone and forgot to set it. So let's start with fuzz bass. This is fuzz bass. It came from the ES2 plugin. I'm in the wrong octave. Has a nice sort of squelch to it while still having that low end. Then we have bassy bass, which really does a lot of the heavy lifting of the bass. Very nice, very woody sounding. Funnily enough, it's called Wookiee bass. This preset, you can just imagine Chewbacca just sat there playing with his synthesizer. And then we have bassier bass, which is speaks for itself. Not really a bassier bass, more or less it's just a bit crazier in terms of a bass. But here we are. Just whack the distortion up. Yeah, that'll sound good. And it kind of does. And so when you play them all together, it gives you a very nice, very 80s, very synthy bass tone. Now we come on to the leads, where there's a little more interesting things going on because I layered up many leads to make this all work out. Here we have lead 1. Very sparkly, very nice, very spacey, gets the theme across. Then we have lead 2, which is interesting, to say the least. It has a lot of delay on it and a lot of tremolo on it. Adds a sort of echo to it, makes it sound larger than it is. Here we have lead 3. This thing is cool. I like this one. Hell yeah. Lead 4 and lead 5 are interesting cases because they're on their own, in that they're not always played in unison with the rest of these. Lead 4, very nice though, very pleasant. Has a very jovial, jolly kind of sound to it, like you're exploring the stars. Good fun. Lead 5, on the other hand, is like you're conversing with an alien. If you're wearing headphones, you'll have the full appreciation of how weird that sounds, where it bounces between the left and the right ear. And then it was all pretty much finished by this point, but then I showed it to my teacher and he said, you should put a theremin on that. So I went, okay, I'll put a theremin on that. Here we go, here's that theremin. So that is the leads. It's powerful, it drives it forward, it has atmosphere. Now we have our samples, which are the things I want to talk about the most, really, because I think they're quite interesting. If we turn all of this off that I have on the plugin, and we analyze the explosion on its own, nope, that one, there we are. It's just a gunshot sound that I found online on YouTube. Very cool. That just sounds a bit too hollow though. So what do we do with that? We add a bit of channel EQ, just to really bring out that low end. Then we had a bit of ring shift, which was very cool to use, mainly because it's just a fun plugin to play around with, because you could do some crazy stuff with it, almost like a filter. But it adds this metallic ringing to it and is what they use to make the Dalek voice.
Would you care for some tea?
Sweeps across again, headphones are needed to appreciate that one. Then a bit of compression just to really pump it. Squeeze the hell out of it. Bit of reverb to extend the sound. Give it this large atmosphere to occupy. And then for the first note, a bit of flange. Just to really just go, yeah, sure. And that almost sounds like there's multiple of them and they're flying away past your head. Kind of like in the original Starfield intro for Peter Howell's theme, which I've taken great inspiration from for this piece, where all of these stars are whizzing past the camera. And it always sounds different because MIDI files. Then we come on to zapping, which if I take the ring and the compression off, is just some electrical interference. It's just that sound, it's a wire short-circuiting. You add a bit of ring shift to it. Now it sounds a lot more alien, wibbly, and in the same technique of the compression of using it as a pumping kind of tool, just to even the peaks out a bit. And then I play random notes, and it really gives it this like a washing sound. Now that's cool and all, but what if I then did the same technique with the ring shift and moved it over time and almost performed it so that you end up with this? You know, very Doctor Who, just to have some weird stuff going on. And it gives, when the lead hasn't come in yet, it gives your ears something else to listen to, almost like a melody in an intro before the main melodic melody comes in on top of the bass. If we just listen to this here. You notice how much attention is brought then towards the bass again, whereas with them together, it brings the image out. It lets the viewer not get too bored of just listening to what is very nice bass, but you know, got to give them something to make them go, what the hell was that? Because it's a Doctor Who theme. Nothing is as you'd expect it. And then this last one here, the keen-eared among you may have noticed that I took this bell sound from For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica. And if you didn't notice that, fair enough. It's quite low in the mix. It's intentionally meant to be a bit of a background kind of detail, but it really suffers without it. It adds to that time theme, almost like a clock, like the Capaldi intros. And then I also added a TARDIS taking off sound effect towards the end, which you've definitely heard as it goes along and takes the song out. I put this in here purely so that you remember what show you're watching, just in case you haven't picked that up from watching the theme tune, watching this funny blue box fly around for a bit and listening to the music, just in case you don't know what show you're watching. That might, give you a hand in just helping you out there. And then that's how I made it. This is what we've got. And that is the theme that's going to be used when I make more shorts which have Doctor Who in them. Source Filmmaker, this will play before it, or maybe after it, or if it doesn't need it. But, it's an option to have a more, show version where they are about this length and they don't repeat the first section again. that original can be used over the credits, and I will also add a middle 8 at some point. I will write that and make another video where I write that, and maybe make a video of me recording it live, which would be cool.